have it?
I actually don't. I only see Q&A, chat, raise hands, settings, and more. And
Oh, okay.
there's only
Perhaps
an.
you want to try to join in again?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just pop back.
All right.
I still don't see the link. Is there a setting to allow? Yeah.
Sorry. When you enter through the who below, is there any uh link to for speakers?
No, it only says join session. Even I was looking for a way to join as a speaker, but it only says join session.
Right. Okay. Perhaps maybe you can um provide me with your slides and then I share screen. Sorry, we have some technical difficulties. Just hold on, yeah. Alright, can you guys see my screen? Hold on. I'm so sorry. Alright, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Alright, sure.
All right, sure. Thanks so much, Shima, for pulling it up. I am actually not too sure why it didn't allow me to. But yeah, I'm really happy to meet everyone today. Thank you so much for your patience. My name is Malika, and today I'll be speaking with you a little bit about my degree that I did in Ireland. So I was there for 4 years, and I did an undergraduate degree, honors degree in genetics at University College Dublin. Okay, do you move on to the next slide?
Alright.
Yeah, so a little bit about myself. So I had a traditional path before I went on to uni. So I did my O levels and then I went to JC. Because of my interest in science, I focused more on science subjects while I was at JC. But at this point, I think it's also important to mention that Irish universities are pretty open to a variety of academic backgrounds. So even if you have not gone through this traditional path of like O levels and then A levels, I think you would still be able to get some form of support from the university, and they'll definitely still consider your background. So if you do not have this traditional path, I wouldn't advise you to. I would advise you to not to worry and to reach out to the university with your qualifications and see how they consider it. So personally, for me, I opted to apply to Ireland because I knew that I wanted something different. I wanted to go to a new place and also get a feel of a new country and a new sort of educational system. And Ireland really appealed to me because I felt that it was an interesting study destination. It's not a very popular one, but it had very high quality education, and they have been having international students for quite some many years now, and they were very open to international students. So that really, really appealed to me. And Ireland as a whole also has this reputation for being a very warm and welcoming country. And that turned out to be very true in my experience. So that's why I was drawn to Ireland. And I went to UCD, University College Dublin, because their science program was very well established. It is one of the best places to study science in Europe because there's a very dedicated degree program just devoted to science. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next few slides. But I graduated with an honors degree in genetics last September. And I was also offered some partial tuition scholarship for all the 4 years. So that covered around 30% of the tuition fee. And this scholarship was awarded by the international office. So most international students applying to UCD tend to get some form of scholarship, in my experience. So that was another strong point about my degree at UCD. Currently, I'm working with the Cancer Genetics Service at National Cancer Center. So my degree prepared me really well to work in this field. And I also have on the slide a little picture of the Halfpenny Bridge in the Dublin city centre. It's a landmark. And I just thought of putting it in because it seemed like a nice way to introduce Dublin to everyone. Okay. On to the next slide, please. So the reason I chose UCD, I did discuss this a little bit, but for me, I felt that UCD really had this appeal for international students. It has the largest international student community compared to the other Irish universities, and it has a dedicated international office, which is now known as UCD Global. And UCD Global has now centers in every sort of almost every continent to attract students and to also provide as a point of contact to the university. So overall, I felt as an international student that I had the resources that would support me when I was in Ireland. And to tell you a little bit more about my degree, so the College of Science at UCD offers 27 degree across 5 major disciplines. So these are the traditional disciplines of biology, physics, chemistry, geology, and mathematics, but they also have degrees in computer science. So the School of Computer Science is a school within the College of Science. So if that is something you're interested in, they have a dedicated school and department just for computer science. But I'll be talking about the pure sciences here. So biology, physics, chemistry, geology, and maths. And I didn't find any other university offering this many degrees just dedicated to science. So I felt that UCD really focused a lot on the science. And I knew that given my interest in science, they would support me and prepare me for any kind of future career goals that I had. And throughout my degree, I felt that there was a good balance of academic rigor as well as research training. So we had a good feel of all the different aspects of science. And another thing that really stood out to me about the science program was that it gave students a lot of flexibility. So this is a little bit different from how it may be in other countries, but at UCD, we had the flexibility to choose sort of the majors that we liked and even the courses that we liked. So we didn't necessarily have to do something just because we had to. So I really like that as well. And of course, with UCD, it's known for its extremely high employability. So UCD graduates are really well prepared to enter the workforce. So overall, it was a very good choice for me. So this is a video. I'm not sure if it may work. If it doesn't, it's okay. We can just go on to the next slide also. That's fine. Okay, so the science degree program at UCD has a very interesting structure. So for the first 2 years, so they're known as stage 1 and stage 2 instead of year 1 and year 2. Stage 1 and stage 2 give students the chance to actually explore their interests. So not everyone goes into the 4-year degree knowing what they want to graduate in, whether they want to do microbiology or neuroscience or genetics. So the first 2 years really give students a chance to actually explore their interests. And that's where the flexibility comes in. You get to pick and choose the subjects that you're interested in. And it's only at the end of stage 2, at the end of your second year, that you actually finalize the major that you want to specialize in. In my case, this was genetics. So we had to put a rank order list and then submit it to the school. And typically most students got their top choice of their major. And it's also pretty interesting because although I said that this is a 4-year degree, students also have the choice of actually graduating at the end of the 3rd year. They would graduate with a bachelor's of science. But if you want to get the honors degree, then you would have to complete the 4th year. And most students complete the 4th year. So how does an honors degree differ from a regular degree? The difference is that in the honors degree, you would write a thesis. So it would be a formal research project that you would do in the 4th year and then present it to the faculty and to the rest of the students in your class. And then that's what gives you the honors component of the degree. So, and you'll be working under a supervisor who has their own lab. So this is a really good chance for you to get good research experience because this is quite a standout factor. Most individuals in science only get a chance to do this sort of specialized research when they're at the master's level or the PhD level, but we actually got to do that at the undergraduate level. Personally, for me, I chose genetics because it's such a rapidly evolving field. It is a very exciting field, and I couldn't be happier that I'm in this area because there are not that many fields that constantly change as much as genetics does. So, and UCD prepared me very well for this. The genetics degree program at UCD had a variety of classes and lectures and lab sessions on the different subfields of genetics as well. So I got a good feel of even the different subcategories of genetics. Okay. So this is a little bit about what a sample student's pathway would look like. So if you look at the panel on the left, so in the first year or stage 1, you would choose modules or courses which would just meet the requirements for a particular subject that you're interested in studying. So for example, they're interested in neuroscience, genetics, and cell biology. So that's just a rough idea. A lot of students would not know which areas they're interested in, but this would be, the first year gives them a chance to sort of narrow down their interests a little bit more. And then in their second year, they would then study a little bit more about those choices that they narrowed in on. And towards the end of the second year, they would then choose one major that they would major in their final degree. So the third year really gives a chance for that student to get a very deep insight on that area. And like I said, some students do graduate at the end of the third year with a bachelor's of science, but the majority of them would stay on to the 4th year to complete their thesis project as well. And that would also, the 4th year also has several advanced level modules or courses to just make your understanding of that subject even more deep. So in terms of internship or career opportunities, for UCD as a whole, the biology program, so this would mean the various biology disciplines at UCD, students have gone on to work in a variety of areas. So more popular ones are places like hospitals or medical centers, but a lot of individuals have also gone on to work at pharmaceutical companies, so big companies like Pfizer or GlaxoSmithKline. And a lot of individuals also have gone on to work in laboratories, so at universities, for example. So many individuals have stayed on at UCD or another college in Ireland to work at that institution's research laboratories. And here I have a picture of a building in UCD known as the Conway Institute. So this is where I did my undergraduate thesis as well. And this is one of the research institutions within the UCD campus. So a lot of graduates or PhD students actually spend a lot of time in a place like this as part of their post-degree career involvement. And a lot of individuals have also gone on to work with government health authorities, so the equivalent of what would be the HPB here. There are many in Ireland and in Europe. So this degree prepares you for a variety of areas. And a lot of individuals have also gone on to do a PhD or a master's degree. So the university as a whole has a careers office. So this careers office is actually for all degree programs in UCD. And I myself worked part-time for 3 years at the careers office. So I know how much effort we spend trying to produce material for students to get access to various career resources. So right from when you join UCD as a student, you actually have access to a variety of opportunities or employer presentations or recruitment fairs that you can attend if you want to get a head start on your career. And in addition to that, at UCD College of Science, there's also a dedicated internships office. So this is in addition to the careers office that the university has. So the science-specific internships office gives you a chance to actually find more science-specific internships, and they're really good support. So personally for me, I started working at National Cancer Center back in August last year, but I actually did my internship with them a couple of years ago. And that was primarily due to my personal reasons of wanting to come back to Singapore. So in my case, I did not go through the UCD College of Science internships office, but actually I found this internship personally by reaching out to the hospital here. But that's just me. A lot of students, most of my classmates actually found internships through the College of Science and through the Career Center. Yeah. So a little bit about student life at UCD as a whole and in Ireland. So I was actually involved in a variety of things, and 4 years is a long time. So it gives you a chance to really have a feel of various things. And personally, I thought that being involved was a great way to actually balance academic life and also other commitments. So like I mentioned, I was working part-time at the Career Center. I was also a student ambassador. I was writing for the university paper. And for at different points of time in my degree, I was also involved with the UCD Musical Society, with the Indian Society. I also managed to collaborate with an NGO in Dublin, and I was also volunteering at a social club for individuals with Down syndrome for around 1.5 years while I was there. So one piece of advice I usually give to prospective students and to new university students is really to get involved. Don't be too hesitant. It's okay if you're shy at first, but just join something that might interest you, and you'll be surprised at how much you get drawn into it. And I'll also mention this at the end of this slide, but studying in Ireland gives you the chance to really balance your life very well. So while you have your academics, it's also very feasible to balance your other commitments. So things like extracurricular activities or even taking out time for yourself, it is feasible in the sort of education system that Ireland provides. So typically my schedule would be lectures in the morning and afternoon. So my degree was pretty lecture intense, but we also had a lot of labs. So depending on which year it was, I had anywhere between 1 lab a week to 3 labs a week. And these labs would be around 3 hours long. But it depended on also the course that I took, and not every course had a lab component to it. And then the rest of my evenings would either be just me spending time by myself, or I would be involved in any of these extracurricular activities. So in terms of living, I lived on campus accommodation for 3 out of 4 years of my time at UCD. And I will say that the campus accommodation is actually quite competitive. So I was actually just fortunate to have campus accommodation for 3 years. So, but a lot of students tend to live off campus from the second year onwards. Typically in the first year, you're guaranteed on campus accommodation. So you have time to look for a place off campus. And I would advise students to start looking for off campus sites as soon as you can when you're in your first year. in terms of the neighborhood that UCD is located in, it's a very, very nice area. The neighborhood is a really nice place. There are loads of parks around there, supermarkets. But the connection to the city center is pretty close as well. There are lots of buses, and the train ride is also not. It's also it's a walk away, but you get a chance to go through the entire Dublin coast from where UCD is. And while I was at UCD, I also managed to do things which I never thought I would do. So I actually picked up the hobby of cooking. So that's one of the things that happens when you live independently. You actually learn things you never thought that you would before. And in terms of the city, the kind of lifestyle that you get in Dublin, there's something for everyone. So if you're more of the artistic kind of person, there are loads of museums and art galleries. If you like adventure, if you like traveling like I do, there's a lot of opportunities to take day trips. And Ireland is actually it's a relatively small country, and there are loads of buses that go between the different areas. So it's a great place to live. You get a chance to balance both your academic and other engagements. So I thought of sharing a few pictures just to give you an insight. So if I were to look at the clock at the top left, we'll go clockwise. So that was me acting as an evil doctor in a play that my friend had actually directed. So that was a great one. And then the picture to the middle, the top row, that was me with some fellow volunteers at the organization that we were volunteering for individuals with Down syndrome. And then the other picture to the far right was me standing in between two counties. So counties are like provinces. That was me on one of my trips around Ireland. And if I were to go to the bottom row, top left, that was an article that I wrote for the paper. And then the other picture in the middle, the bottom row, that was during a Diwali celebration that we had. And finally, the picture to the right, the bottom row, that was just right before we had a musical. So I would really advise getting involved in as many things as you can. Of course, not to the extent that you are overwhelmed and you cannot, that you feel like you're overwhelmed and your plate is too full. But rather, I would say just try to get involved, just to give you a feel of all the different sort of things that you can do. And I also thought of sharing a few pictures that I took when I was on my trips around Ireland. So all of these are there's no filters on any of these. Like Ireland is such a beautiful country, and there's really something for everyone. So if you see there's some shopping that you can do, you can visit places like castles, and there are also, of course, a lot of wonderful natural sights that you can see. And I just thought of pointing the picture on the bottom left. It looks like a pier. So actually, that was the pier where the Titanic actually left Ireland for the last time. So that place is still intact, and there's a lot of history around that place as well. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do. And because Ireland is such a small country, you can actually go for these day trips and then come back to Dublin all within the same day. Yeah. So I just thought of keeping this slide in case anyone wanted to take a picture of some of these links. So you should be able to find this on the UCD website. But these are some links for you to get more information on specific details, like about the College of Science or about campus accommodation. So maybe you can just wait for a couple of seconds just for people to take a picture if they want to.
All right.
Okay.
I think we have a question as well. Like the student actually asked, would you please share about any scholarship opportunities?
Yes. So for international students, there are several scholarship opportunities, and I would actually point you to looking at the UCD Global websites. There's a section specifically for scholarships. So in terms of scholarships, there are a few different types. I think there are 2 scholarships every year offered to international students, which are fully covered. So basically, this is full tuition scholarships. So that covers 100% of all the tuition costs. But that's quite comparative. That's only given to 2 students every year, 2 international students every year. But for the rest of the international students, we do get some degree of scholarship. So that would be a partial tuition scholarship. So for me, that covered around 30% of the tuition fee, because by the time I started applying to UCD, that the deadline for the 100% scholarship had passed. So I couldn't apply to that. But the partial tuition scholarship is something that most students get. And while you are at UCD, there are also other opportunities. So if you do exceedingly well in your academics, you might be considered for a fellowship, and that also gives you an additional amount of scholarship money. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So if you
I
have any
think that's
questions, any
about
other
it.
questions? Yeah.
Yep. Hold on. All right. Okay, I think that's about it. I think there's another question about would you be able to share living costs and tuition fees about the program? But I think I'm really sorry because we are running out of time. Perhaps a student who actually asked this question, you can head on to the lounge and ask Miss Monica in the lounge. Yeah, we have to start our next
Yes.
session already. Thank you so much, Miss
Yeah. Okay.
Monica.
Thank you so much, Shima. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.